Types of academic misconduct. At Mount Royal, the Code of Student Academic Integrity Policy, let's just call it the Code, lists 4 types of academic misconduct. They are plagiarism, cheating, falsification, fabrication, or misrepresentation, and academic advantage. We'll cover each of these types over the next few slides. The first type of academic misconduct is plagiarism. Plagiarism is submitting or using someone else's work without appropriately acknowledging or giving credit to the original author. Giving credit in academic work is usually accomplished through referencing or citation. When we talk about the work of others, this can range from tangible things like words, images, videos, and computer code to more abstract things like someone else's ideas. In the code, plagiarism includes this behavior: submitting, including, or presenting the full or partial intellectual property of another. What would this look like in real life? Here's an example. Let's say you're stuck on an essay and you ask your friend if you can take a look at their essay just to get past your writer's block. You don't intend to use their ideas, but some of them are really good, and you end up using them in your essay without saying where you got them. This is plagiarism because you are essentially taking credit for someone else's ideas. You're not being honest about where you got your information. Here's another point listed under plagiarism in the code: failing to acknowledge the phrases, ideas, or work of another using appropriate citation or referencing. Here's a real-life example. Let's say you're working on a report at the last minute. You're doing the citations, that is, the notes that indicate where specific pieces of information came from, but in a few cases you can't remember which source you got the info from. You're pretty sure your instructor won't check each citation, so you take a guess at which article each idea was from. Taking shortcuts like this with referencing is plagiarism because you're not acknowledging your sources responsibly and accurately. You owe it to the authors whose work you've used to acknowledge that work with care. It comes down to respect for other members of our academic community. Here's one final example. In the code, it says that submitting the same or substantially similar, complete or portions of an assignment, project, paper, or work that the student has previously submitted for evaluation is plagiarism. In other words, submitting work that's already been graded. When might you do this in real life? Well, imagine you took a psychology course last semester and you got an excellent mark on a presentation. For the general education course you're taking this semester, the same topic fits the assignment, so you decide to use the presentation from the last semester again. Many students are surprised to hear that this would be plagiarism. The presentation was their own work, so why shouldn't they be free to use it again? The reason has to do with the value of fairness. If you got feedback on the presentation from last semester's instructor, then you have an unfair advantage over a student who is starting from scratch. It's also important to consider the learning you would be sacrificing by using the same presentation, rather than challenging yourself to learn something new. The second category of academic misconduct in the code is cheating: acting dishonestly or unfairly on an exam, assignment, project, or other form of evaluation. Here are just a few examples of actions that would be categorized as cheating: bringing an unauthorized cheat sheet into an exam, texting others during an online exam that is supposed to be completed individually, copying answers off the person sitting next to you during an in-person exam, and did you know that failing to protect your answers from another student's wandering eyes would also be considered cheating? This is because academic misconduct includes providing assistance to someone else in being dishonest, so take measures to protect your work. The third type, falsification, fabrication, or misrepresentation, is using, submitting, or presenting false information or misrepresenting facts for any academic or scholarly purpose. Some examples of this type of academic misconduct include having someone impersonate you to write your exam for you, whether that exam is in person or online, creating a fake document such as a doctor's medical note in order to defer an exam, or impersonating an instructor to get access to test answers. The last type of academic misconduct, academic advantage, is when a student engages in activities that provide an unfair academic advantage as compared to other students. You can think of this type of misconduct as actions that actively block another student's success. Here are some examples: altering another student's application for a scholarship, deleting another student's work, and hacking into your instructor's Google account to get access to test materials. Within the academic code, there are 3 levels of impact: the academic work level, the program or area of study level, and the university level. Each level corresponds to a different degree of seriousness of the misconduct. So misconduct at the academic work level is less serious than misconduct at the program or area of study level, and the most serious misconduct is at the university level. Who determines the level of impact? It's the person responsible for the academic activity. An academic activity could be a class, but it could also be a practicum or a research activity. Often the person reporting the academic misconduct is the course instructor, but that's not always the case. Let's say a faculty member suspects that a student has committed academic misconduct in their class. The faculty member is responsible for reporting it, and as part of that reporting process, they need to determine the level of impact. And the level of impact will influence the outcomes of the review, which are called resolutions. Let's look at each of the 3 levels of impact in a bit more detail. The first level, academic work, is misconduct that poses a concern or risk for the integrity of the student's academic work. Academic work includes an individual student's assignments, exams, papers, or projects. Here's an example. A student working on a research paper found some content on Google, then copied and pasted a chunk of text into a paper, and didn't include a citation for the information. The misconduct in this case occurred within the student's individual assignment, so the risk to the integrity is at the academic work level. The next level, program or area of study, is when academic misconduct poses a serious concern or risk for the integrity of the student's academic conduct within a program or area of study. For example, this level includes work that is related to professional standards or accreditation requirements. An example of misconduct at this level would be if a student falsified case notes while they were doing their practicum. Imagine case notes a social work student might make during their practicum, or a nursing student, or a massage therapy student. You can see why falsifying case notes would be more serious than the previous example of cutting and pasting information from Google. Falsifying case notes might impact not only the student's own learning, but also their reputation in the program and in that practicum setting. And think about the client. Inaccurate case notes could negatively impact that person too. And the relationship between the student and their practicum supervisor is now at risk as well. The last level of impact, the university level, is for misconduct that poses a significant concern or risk for the integrity of the student's academic conduct across all university-related academic and scholarly activity. This level can include activity that has serious ethical issues, also involves serious non-academic behavior, or actions related to reputation concerns, to name a few examples. An example would be hacking into the university's administrative databases to change your transcripts. This would clearly be highly unethical. It would compromise the integrity of the university's documentation system, a system we all rely on to ensure that MRU's credentials are legitimate and trustworthy. We've gone through just a few examples of misconduct that can be categorized into the different levels, but it's important to remember that each case is highly contextual. The next module will help you discover ways to deepen your understanding and build your confidence so that you can make the choices that contribute to a strong culture of academic integrity at MRU.